Close your eyes and imagine the backdrop for the fairy tales you loved as a child. Now open them. If you're standing on the shores of Lake Bled, Slovenia, seeing the church-topped island and the castle-topped cliff, then you're already there. Is this the most beautiful place on Earth? I certainly think so, and I'm not alone. Millions of visitors have marveled at the fairy tale perfection of Bled, Slovenia. This podcast brings you the wonders of Bled, its people, places, foods, history, and experiences. Everything you need for a perfect holiday. I'm your host, Noah Charney, and this is the Bled Podcast. Is this the most beautiful place on Earth? Let's begin. Today we're going to take a special walk around Lake Bled. It's a journey through stories, stone and wood, power, beauty, and memory. The villas of Bled line the shores and slopes like chapters in a novel. Though there are over 30 villas in the broader Bled area, today we'll concentrate on the ones you can see from the lakeside walking route, especially those encountered in a counterclockwise loop, starting from the town center and passing St. Martin's Church. As you walk, we'll meet them in the order you'd pass them. For each, I'll share when it was built, as best records allow, who commissioned it or made it famous, and what architectural features or anecdotes make it stand out. So lace up your walking shoes and let's begin. In addition to the island, the castle, and the modern town center, you'll surely notice the many remarkable villas on the lake and beyond its shores. It's hard to define which building is a villa, but keep an eye out for an architecturally noteworthy large house that dates from before the First World War, many indeed from the 19th century, with distinctive elements like gables, towers, or stucco decorations on the facades. Most began as holiday homes of wealthy Austro-Hungarians who would spend as much as half the year in Bled, and who could blame them? Many can be seen today, though almost all the villas are in private hands, so you can only admire them from the outside, unless you happen to know the owner, of course. Some exceptions include the former Vila Zora, now the town hall, and Hotel Triglav, a hotel built on the opposite shore of the lake near the train station, which you can visit as a hotel guest or by dining at their Michelin-rated restaurant. To kick things off, let me introduce a special guest. Nika Leben is one of Slovenia's foremost experts in architectural heritage, especially the villas of the Gorenjska region, including those lining Lake Bled. Nika has spent years working within Slovenia's cultural heritage preservation authorities, where she oversaw the documentation, protection, and restoration of historic properties. Her deep knowledge of archival sources, architectural styles, and local histories gives her rare insight into these elegant lakeside homes. She brings not only technical expertise, but a passion for how these villas tell stories about identity, politics, and memory.
Blejske vile, v bistvu smo začeli varovati šele v 90.
We began to preserve the villas of Bled only in the 90s. Before then, only two monuments were registered, Bled Island and Bled Castle, the two that all tourists who come will know. Prior to that, no one paid much attention to the villas. In fact, many were unfortunately knocked down. Bled became a significant tourist destination in the middle of the 19th century, when guests started to visit from all over Europe, throughout the Austro-Hungarian Empire, from Trieste, from Vienna, cultural workers, merchants, industrialists. It was a busy time. The wealthiest bought land around the lake, and when this land was all sold, later investors bought plots further away from the lake and constructed villas there. I did my dissertation on the villas of Bled, and my research found a wealth of blueprints and plans. So this let us match many villas with the stories of how they were built, when, and who they were built for. There were Czechs, architects from Vienna, and much of the masonry was done by stonemasons from the karst region. But then after the Second World War, many of the private villas were nationalized. Those that had been bought by Italians or Germans were left abandoned after the war. Some of these were made property of the state, Some were returned to the pre-war owners. Some were repurposed or knocked down. Now the most important surviving villas are registered and protected as cultural heritage monuments and carefully renovated and preserved.
With the origins in mind, let's start our walking loop. We begin in the town center on the south shore of Lake Bled, turning eastward along the lakeside path and climbing gently towards St. Martin's Church. You'll soon glimpse Vila Zora, perched among the trees above, overlooking the grassy park on the lake's shore. Vila Zora is often considered the oldest villa in Bled, built in 1853 in a neo-Gothic style by Karl Rittmeyer, a coal merchant from Trieste. Its Gothic revival design includes pointed arches, tracery on windows, steep gables, elements that evoke a romantic architectural sensibility of the mid-19th century. Today, Vila Zora houses the town hall, the municipal offices including the mayor's, and it serves as the wedding hall of Bled. Weddings are held in its elegant rooms, unless of course you've booked a wedding in the castle. The villa's steep gables and pointed arches and decorative tracery evokes that romantic vision of a lakeside retreat, and its windows catch light beautifully in the early morning. That balcony in front, that's the mayor's, and he jokes that he has the best view of any mayor's office in the world, and I wouldn't doubt it. A short way further is Vila Mur. Built circa 1895, it was commissioned by Baroness Maria Mur, belonging to a distinguished Austro-Hungarian family. With its decorative stucco work, gabled roof lines, and carved wooden trim, it reflects a blend of Alpine romanticism and middle-class elegance. From the lakeside, you may only catch glimpses through the foliage, but the detailing is worth a look. Next is Vila Zlatorog. This building was built towards the end of the 19th century by Adolf Mur, a Viennese trader. The name Zlatorog evokes the legendary golden horn chamois of Slovenian folklore, and the villa's steep roof and wooden verandas echo the Alpine fairy tale aesthetic. Today, Vila Zlatorog is a protocol facility under state protection, occasionally used for high-level official meetings. Walking onwards brings us to Vila Epos. Built in 1903, it combines Art Nouveau flourishes with classical symmetry. The name Epos suggests grandeur and narrative ambition. Over the decades, it has hosted writers, intellectual salons, and served as a retreat for thinkers. The tall windows, rounded corners, and ornate balconies invite both architecture lovers and daydreamers to linger. Next along the way is Vila Triglav, now operating as Hotel Triglav. Constructed in 1906, its original structure boasted a columned portico, classic lines, and interior wood and plaster detailing. In its hotel iteration, many original interiors survive. Guests can stay in rooms that reflect earliest 20th century taste while enjoying modern comfort. Because of its near-shore location nearest to the train station and with an elevated facade, it offers commanding views of the lake. It once supposedly hosted Archduke Franz Ferdinand on his way towards Sarajevo, where unfortunately he was assassinated, precipitating the First World War. The Archduke should have stayed at Bled instead. To learn more about it, I spoke to its owner, Zdravko Rus. Zdravko, tell me about your hotel. What's the story behind it?
The mayor of Bled was in the time when the hotel was built, Jakob Peternel. He was the mayor and he knows that this location from the Hotel Triglav is one of the most interesting about the train. And the hotel was opened in the year 1906. In this time, Bled gets two hotels in this region, Hotel Triglav and Hotel Europa, and also begins a railway to Vienna to Trieste, nearby the Hotel Triglav. In this year, 1906, visited Franz Ferdinand, who was then one of the most interesting people, He was then killed in Sarajevo, you know this history. And he also visited in this time our hotel. And then Bled in these times get also status from touristic destination. And this was then mentioned in Ljubljana, and Bled becomes a famous touristic town. My great-grandfather bought this hotel later because the owners, that Mr. Peterner and his family, they have problems with money. And my great-grandfather buys this hotel, and he makes this hotel mostly so with today. And then after denationalization, I get this hotel from my aunt. So that we make hotel in the situation that is today. It was a very big work, but I am very proud that we finished this work, and then we work in this hotel till 2009.
Moving on from Hotel Triglav, we come to Vila Dalibor. Built in the 1920s, it bears a romantic echo of Slavic culture, named after the opera character Dalibor. Its form is more modest than the grander villas, but delicate arches, covered loggias, and decorative windows give it an intimate charm. Proceeding along the lakeside path, the next major site is Vila Bela, also called Beli Dvor. The name translates roughly as the White House, which Slovenians like to joke about, that we have our own White House here, not just in America. Erected at the turn of the 20th century, late 19th century, it was commissioned by the noble Lazzarini family. Architecturally, Vila Bela evokes Romantic and Renaissance elements, rounded balconies, elegant stucco, and a facade that kisses the lake horizon. During Yugoslav times, parts of it were used by a hotel company, bringing public life into private elegance. Up the slope and into the trees, you'll find Vila Pongrac. This villa dates back to the late 19th century and belonged to the Pongrac noble family, part of an old Carniolan aristocracy. The stone construction, high ceilings, and its lakeside lawn give it an aura of dignified seclusion. It's still a private residence, resilient against the passing of decades, a gem along the path. We continue to Vila Trdina, named for Slovenian writer Janez Trdina. Built in the 1930s, it once formed part of a state-supported literary colony. Its form is cleaner and more modern, whitewashed walls, rectangular volumes, generous windows. Because of its intellectual lineage, it feels like an invitation to pause and reflect, and maybe write something in your journal. Janez Trdina was quite a character. He wrote some very funny social observations of Slovenes in the 19th century, particularly the enthusiastic drinking culture of historical residents of the Dolenjska region. Now we come to Vila Bled, formerly Vila Vindišgrac. Nothing quite compares in historical gravitas, and we have a whole episode, my interview with former Mayor Janez Fajfar, that delves into the details of its history. But let's just mention a bit about the villa that was here before Vila Bled was built in its place. The original villa was built in 1883, finished in 1885, by the Austro-Hungarian noble Vindišgrac family, with turrets and English country mansion elements. In 1920, the royal Karađorđević family acquired it. Queen Maria and King Alexander used it as a summer residence, and their youngest son, Prince Andrei, was born there. During the 1940s, during wartime occupation, it was adapted as a hotel by Nazi administrators. After the war, it was demolished and rebuilt. The new villa, completed in 1947, was transformed into President Tito's summer residence. Architect Vinko Glans oversaw the redesign, modifying original plans and embedding symbolism and monumental elements. Inside, you'll find frescoes by Zdravko Rus, mosaics, reliefs, and a careful orchestration of art to represent the new socialist state. The Belvedere Pavilion, supported by 30-meter pillars and originally envisioned by architect Jože Plečnik, still stands above the lake and was once Tito's tea room. Today, Vila Bled is a hotel of exceptional status, 33 rooms, original 1950s design elements, a private bathing area, and a restaurant celebrated in culinary guides. It also functions as a protocol facility for state visits. Prior arrangement is needed to access it. Because we've looped the lake, we're back at the starting point, completing a circuit of lakeside villas. There are also villas beyond the lake shore, and they are worth exploring. And honestly, our tour was a little bit wiggle-waggle, but you should be able to see all of the villas when you do that loop around the lake. But let me tell you about one that is not on the lake shore, but is worth mentioning. It's owned by Simon Plestenjak and his family. Simon is a National Geographic photographer who took some of the photos in my Bledology book. His family villa is called Vila Josephine.
I will present to you my home, Vila Josephine. It's an authentic family villa located in the very center of Bled. Well, the villa was built by my great-grandmother, Jožica Hočevar, more than a century ago. In the documents that I found at home, I realized she was registered as Josephine, and that's why we named the villa in her honor. Originally, the villa served both as a family home and there was a doctor's clinic because Jožica's husband was a doctor. After he passed away, Josephine transformed the house, the villa, into a boutique hotel. It was called Pension Hočevar at the time. And it prospered for nearly 3 decades, so basically between the First and Second World War. It offered guests rooms, breakfast, and there was even a cafe next to it where the pharmacy stands today. It was like a wooden hut that served coffee, sandwiches, and some other stuff. Well, unfortunately, over the years, the family lost the possession of the house because of the Second World War and the political changes that came after that. But by the late 90s, the villa gradually returned to the family, and we carefully restored it and preserved as much as original there was. And today I'm proudly reviving Josephine's vision of hospitality. The building itself is part of Slovenia's natural heritage, and it's preserved in its original exterior form, but it also retains authentic interior details such as staircase, high ceilings, original wooden floors, large double windows, and so on. And at the same time, it now offers cozy apartments for both residents and tourists. Well, the location actually couldn't be better. It's just a 3-minute walk to the lake with a wonderful view of the castle right from the garden. The villa sits in the heart of Bled, in the area of villas, very central, close to the bus station, the hospital, surrounded by cafes, restaurants, saunas, shops. So all the essentials that make a stay both convenient and memorable. Vila Josephine. Besides being my home, it's also an opportunity for tourists to experience authentic hospitality in a home that's full of history and character.
And there you have it, a tour of some of the villas of Bled, specifically focused on those circling the lakeside. Each reflects a slice of time, a turn in architecture, a summer, a family, a political regime, or a poet's dream. Next time you walk the lake path, look upward and recall these names. Each roof, carved balcony, and hidden staircase carries a story. And while many villas lie off the main lakeside route, hidden on the side of hills and on forest slopes, we focus on the ones that capture the lake's heart. Thank you for walking with me, and you can learn more in my book Bledology or in other episodes of the Bled podcast. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bled podcast. Is this the most beautiful place on earth? The official podcast of the Bled Tourist Board. In each episode, we explore Bled and its surroundings. You'll find it all here in this image of paradise.